Can you guess what this is? The toilet area was built openly inside the camp with 2 toll waste buckets put underneath. Prisoners must go to the toilet in front of fellow inmates. Diabolically, when prisoners fought against such harsh imprisonment, deputy wardens made cleaning the toilet forbidden, polluting the atmosphere with overflowing waste. Making the best of the worst, prisoners used the toilet to hide secret documents from the guards. These documents were put in metal boxes covered in carefully tied nylon bags and put inside the toll waste boxes. At the end of the day, after guards took roll call, inmates pulled the documents up for training and propagating the revolution purpose. Sorry, we need my recorded gimbal again. To clean wounds, almond nuts to improve health, and almond branches to make pen holders, pipes, flutes. By the almond tree, political prisoners could discuss measures on fighting against the enemy's severe confinement and barbarous repression during Christmas and New Year celebration. American pilots would personally prepare meals, decorate their prison cells, and learn to sing for the ceremonies. The number of letters written increased, helping American pilots alleviate their homesickness. Many pilots even recorded messages of love to be sent to their families and broadcast on the Voice of Vietnam radio station. Hoa Lo Prison was constructed by French colonists in 1896 on the land of Phu Can Village, Vinh Son Canton, To Song District, Hanoi. I'm sure I massacred all of those names. Formerly, Phu Can Village came into being as a result of the merger of 2 other hamlets. In the 19th century, this village was the only destination in the Thanh Long Citadel where home appliances such as kettles, teapots, and portable stoves were made. Hence the name Hoa Lo, or fiery furnace, was another name for this village. Those handmade products were preferred not only by dwellers of the Thanh Long Citadel, but also by people from far and wide. Thanks to the traditional making of Hoa Lo portable earthen stoves, Phu Can villagers enjoyed a good life. In 1896, French colonists built the prison, the court of assizes, and a secret agent office on the land area of Phu Can village, forming up a complete autocratic ruling system to aid their dominion and oppression against the patriotic and revolutionary movements of the Vietnamese people. They moved all villagers, old pagodas, and communal houses in Phu Can village to other places. Chan Tien Pagoda and Phu Can Communal House were relocated to Ba Cho Street, where they are today. Big Tu and Big Qua pagodas were destroyed completely, covering a total land area of 12,908 square meters. Hoa Lo Prison was one of the largest and fortified prisons in Indochina at the time. In 1896, Hanoians in particular, and the Vietnamese people in general, lost forever an ancient village which practiced a time-honored craft. It's 11:41, and I've ended my fast. That ended yesterday. So seems like, all right, it's time to eat. What do you think?
That's a good idea.
Because I love to.
Although I'm like eating strawberries right now. I just like worked down 2 little grilled chicken tenders and some green beans, and now I'm eating strawberries.
Wow.
Because I fast at 12, and then I won't eat again probably until like 3 or 4 tomorrow, maybe even 5, depending on if I feel like I'm hungry when I get up. But I will drink something, but it'll be a diet soda or flavored water, no sugar. So.
Well, what do you want?
But...
What would you like to see me eat today? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Today.
Yes, let's. So do you want to look for something, or do you want to just walk towards the next site and see what's between here and there?
Yeah, do that. See what's going on.
That's
What's the
I feel like
happenings in between.
I feel like when you're doing a tour day and you're out doing your stuff, that is the best option because then you don't have to go off your plan. And the good thing about Vietnam is there's always good food. Always have material for revolutionary propaganda and study in the prisons. The communists often crawled on the floor to compile. They hid these materials by chiseling the wall, pulling out the bricks, and then restoring the original appearance to make sure that the materials would not be detected despite the regular patrol of jailers. Despite the difficult prison life, constant challenges, and the atrocious cunning enemy, Vietnamese patriotic and revolutionary fighters were not discouraged and still retained their will to fight, keep fighting until their last breath. In Hoa Lo Prison, detention area for female prisoners was 270 square meters, including 4 small cells, a cell for female prisoners that have children, a cell for female prisoners, I guess, that don't have children, a bathhouse, and a garden. There was a time that 300 female prisoners were kept here by the French colonialists. The cell was small with a lack of running water. Hygiene conditions were not safe. In addition to that, rations of food were always misappropriated. As a result, the life of a female political prisoner was extremely horrible. And this site in particular is very tied. I mean, it's all about French colonialism, particularly the end of it, but it's all about their Vietnam struggle against France, which is a much larger chunk of their history than the American involvement. Not that ours wasn't obviously very important and relevant, but yeah, I mean, France would colonize the place and occupied it for 100 years. So obviously, it's more about that. I guess to update you, I can say that this room was showing a guillotine, and some of the pictures show the decapitated prisoners. These were people who were sentenced to death. The space of the area of cells for prisoners sentenced to death in Hoa Lo Prison. So this is the area of people who got the death sentence.
I'm back, by the way.
I hear you.
I know I missed some stuff.
You did. You missed a guillotine. It's over there.
Oh my god.
That's how they executed people.
Oh my god.
I imagine they did a lot of it.
You're talking about the French did.
Yes.
The French did that.
Yes.
But the U.S. just did the U.S. do it too, or were they just like obviously brutalizing and just shooting people?
On the night of December 24th, 1951, 16 Hoa Lo death sentence political prisoners escaped through this underground sewer. 5 of them succeeded.
Yeah.
Five of them succeeded and rejoined the resistance base to continue the struggle.
And that's what the POWs would refer to as the Hanoi Hilton.
That's right. That's how we know it. And I hope that we can, I mean, it's not that history is wrong. I'm not trying to erase it or forget it, but just realize that the building that they're referring to as the Hanoi Hilton, that was all about American POWs, was actually built before them. It was used by the French to capture and torture dissidents. That's what they call people who wanted to run the country themselves, their own country. Does it say how long the French used it as a prison?
Well, that's just your thing on here.
And the good thing about Vietnam is there's always good food. Always. I like that I think this is the second place we've had a gift shop in the middle of the site. It really is, yeah. Because you're in the middle of it, you're all excited about it. By the end, you're like, ooh, I'm ready to see the next site. We wrap that up, and then you hit the gift shop in the middle of it. You're like, ooh, I want to buy stuff for this place because it's cool. And the U.S. now, part of our torture regime is leaving people in isolation for years at a time.
Well, don't forget what they did to the prisoners in Abu Ghraib, too. Piling them up naked and all that. So there's people being brutalized in that aren't even political or whatever prisoners, just regular degular U.S.
Disgusting and not surprising, yes. Well, it says to the exhibition, but then also there's this room. I feel like we're supposed to go in here first. Oh, it's very dark in here. The dungeon. Okay, that's what we're about to go into. Used to confine prisoners who broke the regulations of the prison. The dungeon in Hoa Lo was hell of hell. The dungeon was dark and narrow. Prisoners were kept separately and were put in stocks and had to eat and relieve themselves on the spot. All the prisoners confined here were puffed with oedema. Their eyes were clouded over and their bodies were covered with scabies caused by the lack of light and air. According to Paris Agreement, all American pilots held in temporary detention camps in North Vietnam were concentrated at Hoa Lo Prison for repatriation to the United States government. The first repatriation took place on February 12, 1973 at Gia Lam Airport. Subsequent repatriations occurred on February 18th, March 4th, and March 14th, 1973. At 3:20 on March 29, 1973, the Vietnamese government completed the repatriation of all American pilots. Clothes that were worn here. Every stop, every place we go, I think, we're gonna have to stretch it out because there's not really that much to see there, and then it turns out there totally is.
Right.
A lot of stuff, a lot of history. I'm glad too that they incorporated the exhibits on the Americans that were imprisoned here, and it totally reflects the amount that this the amount of the history of this place is that, right? Because I think Americans have it in their head that that's all it is. Prisoners were kept separately and were put in stocks and had to eat and relieve themselves on the spot. All the prisoners confined here were puffed with oedema, oedema.
Oh, edema.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so swelling. It's a water retention edema.
Oh, okay.
But like if you could put it as I guess unless it's like but it's swelling from too much fluid trapped in your tissues.
I see. Their eyes were clouded over and their bodies were covered with scabies caused by the lack of light and air. In 1932, Conrad Trong Chinh, former general secretary of the Vietnamese Communist Party, was imprisoned here after he led political prisoners on an organized meeting in the prison to celebrate the Labor Day. In Hoa Lo Prison, detention area for female prisoners was 270 square meters, including 4 small cells, a cell for female prisoners that have children, a cell for female prisoners, I guess, that don't have children, a bathhouse, and a garden. There was a time that 300 female prisoners were kept here by the French colonialists. The cell was small with a lack of running water. Hygiene conditions were not safe. In addition to that, rations of food were always misappropriated. As a result, the life of a female political prisoner was extremely horrible. Okay, so this is a special exhibition. I don't know if it's temporary, but it's here now, and so are we. Operation Linebacker. Do you know what that one was?
No.
That was the American, one of the American bombing campaigns that came all the way up here to Hanoi. It's the one that the movie we keep talking about reviewing that we haven't done yet. That's when that happened. That's when that movie is set.
Of course, they would name it something like that.
I think it shows the low level of seriousness the people in charge take the shit.
Right.
Pupils in wartime. school children learning to weave straw hats, learning to administer first aid. And carrying a stretcher. Oh, so you can see the whole thing. Wartime classroom for hand. Forehand. So there. All right, well, we're in, so let's talk about Hoa Lo Prison. What do you know about Hoa Lo Prison?
Oh, I'm still reading. Okay, so this structure is different than what I'm reading about because I'm looking about. Okay, hold on. Let me go back over. I'm waiting on the little ticker to go back around.
Well, the history, the original Hoa Lo Prison was much larger than what we're going to see today. It used to take up what would be the whole block, but it's not a prison anymore, so they don't need the whole thing.
Right, because it says the original was demolished. Right, they just kept remnants of it because it's okay. Here we go. Although the gatehouse remains as the museum.
Right.
Okay, so is that Hoa Lo?
Hoa
Lo
Yeah,
Prison.
Hoa Lo.
Okay. Was a prison in Hanoi originally used by the French colonists in Indochina for political prisoners.
They've got what they call them propaganda shops where you can buy in and go in and buy classical propaganda, like little. It's like a gift shop, like a tourist shop, all over the historic district. I don't think we need the audio guide. We tried that yesterday, and it didn't work out. You guys couldn't hear it.
Right.
If we could figure out how to get it downloaded like onto your machine, you could play it like and share the thing, the sound. Maybe there's some way to do that, but we'd have to find a way to download it before. I believe this side here, with the big courtyard, is a condo tower now.
Oh, wow. It says that originally intended to house around 450 inmates. Records indicate that by the 1930s there were close to 2,000 prisoners. What do they make?
It doesn't say what they all are. It just says Hoa Lo prisoners made and used. This looks like some sort of it's embroidery on something, maybe a bag or something. These look like buttons, like buttons for your clothing, and these are combs, and one looks like a ring and a pipe. I mean, that's a lot of good craftsmanship, and then the pipe is just like a tree branch with a hole stuck in it. No reason to put more effort into it than you need to. There you go, Vietnamese flag made, which is something they made here. This is from the almond tree that was outside. Hoa Lo political prisoners used to learn foreign languages. They used like charcoal to write with, and made writing implements out of tree branches, tree twigs. As a result, the life of a female political prisoner was extremely horrible. They also organized classrooms to faithful to each other in their protest against reading in an angle, to propagate politics and culture in order to improve their ability to fight and make contributions to the revolution. The United States government carried out sabotage warfare by using their air and naval forces against the north of Vietnam from August 5th, 1964 to January 15th, 1973. Thousands of planes were shot down and hundreds of United States pilots were arrested by the North Army and people. Many of them were imprisoned here. After the Paris Peace Accords was signed on January 27th, 1973, all the arrested U.S. pilots were released to U.S. government by the Vietnamese government. Some of the pictures and objects in these two exhibition halls show details of U.S. read about it. This was pretty close to the end of the war, and they wanted to do this despite the negotiations going on to press, to give them an advantage in a negotiating advantage. U.S. President Nixon ordered the start of Operation Linebacker 2, because they did multiple times, on the night of December 18th, 1972.
Hey.
Turning the prison into a school to propagate the revolutionary argument. That'd be great if that was going on in our prisons. Instead, we've got religious people coming in and converting everybody.
Constantly. Remember, they were dipping them over here, height of COVID. We're having them outside, dipping them in troughs of water all of them sharing the same water troughs, dipping them in there for their baptisms.
Oh, wow.
Oh, by the way,
That's
not a
important.
conflict of interest or any kind of greed or anything, but the preacher there also runs the commissary and makes all the money off the prisoners buying the commissary stuff.
Wow. Underground sewer. From the 11th to the 16th of March 1945, over 100 Hoa Lo political prisoners escaped through this underground sewer in Camp J. They reached different locations and participated in general insurrection. August 1945 then became the party and government leaders. Struggle against the enemy's terrorism. Oh, maybe this is one piece. It's in three parts. Man, I love the pulling cord that keeps jerking on this. Yeah, so they go together. Okay. Oh, and here's the gift shop. Now I remember there being a second floor. So although I like looking at the gift shop too. I like the refrigerator magnets here.
Jag sitter och man kommer runt personer som tar över. Jag är med sig för mig på rum. Men jag kan rätta vad det är uppe. 4. Den är tid. Jag klarar inte själva från. Hit kom det. Ja, jag sitter och man kommer runt personer som tar över. Jag är med sig för mig på rum. Men jag kan rätta vad det är uppe. 4. Den är tid. Jag klarar inte själva från. Hit kom det.